happy that the judgment has actually resolved the controversy about the winner of the 16th July election in our state. INEC is the greatest beneficiary of the judgment. But it will afford INEC the opportunity to look at all the anomalies and make necessary arrangements to avoid the repetition of it, particularly now that we have a general election that is coming very soon.
His Excellency has spoken and we reject the judgment of the tribunal. We are going on appeal, and you are all aware of the minority judgment, which clearly established that there was no overvoting and Governor Adegoke is eminently qualified to contest the governorship. So we call on the people of the state to remain calm and everybody going about their normal duty without fear of any molestation.
All right, joining us now, a senior advocate of Nigeria, Kunle Adegoke. Very warm welcome to Newsnight. Are your thoughts about the judgment of the Osun tribunal? 2-1?
Yes, thank you very much. The position of the law is that the majority decision of the court or a tribunal is the decision of that tribunal and not the minority opinion, which though may be a platform for a party that is satisfied to launch on to challenge the decision. However, the decision of today is not a victory just for APC, it is victory for electoral justice in Nigeria. The fear that an average citizen has is whether it is possible to attain electoral justice in Nigeria in view of the challenges bedeviling our elections and the process of proving electoral malpractices. But from what has happened today, one will see that the tribunal had a simple or a simpler duty to perform in having to look at the documents tendered by the parties. Fundamentally, the conflicts between the evidence of INEC and the evidence of other respondents, PDP and Governor Adegoke. Now, from the evidence of the defendants, of the respondents themselves, it is clear that overvoting was established. Now, the evidence emanating from the respondents went further to accentuate the strength of the case of the petitioner, because the petitioners were able to prove that in 744 polling units, there was overvoting. And when the figures involved, the results involved, these 744 polling units were deducted, it was clear that APC and Governor Oyetola will be leading with nothing less than 24,000 votes. And that is exactly what played out today. The legislature, the National Assembly, has made it easier for any petitioner whose allegation is that the result produced is inconsistent with accreditation figures produced by INEC, or where mere documents will establish its allegation. He doesn't have to go out and be calling witnesses anymore. So the witnesses called by the petitioners to even establish their petition, they were merely called for the purpose of giving credence to the allegations that they made, and the tribunal had no choice but to accept the evidence as patently displayed on the pages of the exhibit, which were certified through copies of documents issued by INEC.
Okay. Senior Advocate of Nigeria, you described this as a victory, but victory for who really? It looks like the mandate of the people is about to be decided by the courts once more. Another electoral justice delivery. And one will wonder if the judiciary is becoming the ultimate electoral umpire.
Well, it is victory for electoral justice. And why am I saying this? When you look at the law, every sane society every civilized society must have a procedure for resolving disputes. One of such disputes that may occur in society is disputes out of electoral process, where a party is alleging that the election was not conducted in compliance with the law, which is the allegation we had in Osun. Now, the only place such a party can go is not by resorting to violence, but to go to the tribunal. If anybody is saying that the court is now determining winners of elections, should we have done it by intervention of thugs? Should we have resorted to intervention of violence? So definitely it is the court of law that we have to go to. And where the petitioner was able to establish that if these discrepancies, non-compliance has not occurred, I would have won the election. The court will have to look at it. Well, there are such malpractices or non-compliance with the law that can invalidate the election in some places. Without the intervention of the courts, our society will degenerate into the Obesian state of nature, where we will be killing one another as a result of electoral malpractices. We cannot afford to go back to what used to happen in 2007, 2011, when electoral malpractices, violence, and brigandage dominated our electoral process. And that is why it has now become the law that where a party feels aggrieved with the decision of the INEC in conducting an election, in announcing a result, then such a party should go to the tribunal. The ultimate decider, the ultimate arbiter of an electoral dispute is the tribunal and the appellate court, as the case may be. When Senator Adegoke was dissatisfied with the election in 2008, 2018, what did he do? He went to the tribunal, and from there to the Court of Appeal and to the Supreme Court. He did not resort to violence. So if he had been declared winner then, would we condemn the courts as having unduly intervened in an electoral process or producing a winner? People outside may have a feeling that a particular election was free and fair, but by the time it is subjected to microscopic examination of the rules regulating the electoral process, you discover that it is not so. So what may be apparent to you and me, who are outsiders, we have thousands of polling units in Osun. A single individual cannot say election is free and fair everywhere.
Right,
we have reports in the number of polling units characterizing it as free and fair. But by the time it is...
Okay, Kunle, you've said so much, but one or two questions I want to put to you is that what kind of sense of belonging, will this judgment leave on the minds of the people? And secondly, doesn't this judgment put a huge question mark on the use of the beavers if the tribunal, one of the key indices of that judgment is that of overvoting, even with the beavers machine?
Now, this gives INEC the opportunity to ensure that subsequent elections will be conducted in full compliance with the provisions of the law. The beavers was introduced by the National Assembly and sponsored by INEC as the technological tool for determining accreditation, so that politicians will not fiddle with, will not tamper with the accreditation. Elections are rigged through accreditations. But now, Beavers has come to ensure that electoral rigging through accreditation will no longer be possible. Once the technology is not able to identify you through your face or through your thumbprint, then you are not allowed to vote. The implication is that this is a perfect intervention in ensuring that accreditation and voting will be the same. In Osun, during this last election, we have some places that even INEC officer brought to the tribunal, testified and admitted that in some places, the number of votes recorded will be about 400 plus. And accreditation was just 200 plus. In some places, there will be discrepancy of more than 50 votes, 100 votes, which the INEC officer in a testimony admitted at the tribunal. We have nothing less than about 116 polling units, even established by PDP reports where there was overvoting. So in a situation of this nature, it is not just the evidence of the petitioners alone that established overvoting. Evidence of INEC through the Beavers report that it claimed to have synchronized established overvoting in more than 400 polling units. The case also goes for the report brought by PDP, in which we were able to detect evidence of overvoting, and we confronted their witnesses with this evidence. Now, what are we talking about? Where it is established that in some places, for instance in Ede, people voted till about 9 p.m., 10 p.m., when election had been stopped in other polling units as early as 2 p.m., 3 p.m., as recognized by law. Now, in those places where they kept on voting till night, manipulating, doing all manner of things, we now have huge vagaries between the total votes recorded and the total number of accreditation. And we want such an electoral malpractice to be glossed over by the society, believing that because maybe they don't like the face of a particular person, injustice should be done to him.
Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Kunle Adegoke, I'm sure a lot will be discussed in the courtrooms as the PDP candidate. Governor says he's heading to the Court of Appeal. Thank you so much for gracing our news tonight. We do appreciate your time.